Good evening and welcome back into Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears. We are back tonight live chatting all things Universal and Disney news, and we're focused tonight on the Disney Cruise Line. So thank you so much for joining us, whether you're live or watching us on replay. We're excited to be here talking about the things that we enjoy. So Jennifer is working on sharing it out to our various pages. And once we do that, we will kind of dive into everything that's happening. But you're joining us live. Thank you so much for being here. We hope you had a nice Thanksgiving if you celebrated. I am coming off a epic road trip. So if I am not coherent, which occasionally happens anyway, that's my excuse. So, but we're here and we're live. And as always, we're thrilled to be here. So if you're here and watching, we greatly appreciate you subscribing to our channel. That helps us as well, hitting that thumbs up button to know that you're liking, and then jumping in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from, or if you have any questions as we're talking as well.
Absolutely. And we later on in our conversation, we will announce our November winner for our giveaway. So if you have been paying attention over the past couple of months, we have been doing a monthly giveaway for folks who are engaging with either our Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears Facebook group or here in the chat. We want to be more than just a space that puts out information. We really want to interact with you. We learn so much and have so much fun interacting with you too. And so if you've got questions or comments or anything, please feel free to add them in the chat during all of our live streams. But, we have the Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears Facebook group. We've got a page too where we can push out information, but it's not pages aren't as interactive as groups. And so we've got the group specifically for any questions that you have, about your travel or, celebrations, things that you want to share, things that you've learned, include that all there. So later on in our conversation, we'll let you know who won for the month of November.
That's right. So, and that's why we created this space. We love talking about what we do. We learn just as much. We both have clients. Do you have clients? I have a couple clients there this week.
Oh yeah. Right now, and leaving in a couple of days. I'm making dining reservations every day for the next several days. So January, February. Right.
So crazy. And I don't know about, it's hard to believe it's December. Is it tomorrow? Tomorrow, December 1st.
Yeah. Well, I do have that Costco wine vent calendar that I get to start tomorrow. So I've been
might have to post a picture.
So I will.
We might have to go to Costco. There's no Costco near me. Most of you know, I'm in a smaller town, so there's no Costco, but I'm pretty jealous of all my friends. I think Jamie Farber is another Mickey Travels agent, has one as well, some others. So so again, we're a great resource for you. We appreciate you using us for your free travel planning. We also have a wonderful resource of Mickey Travels with lots of adventure travels agents that we chat with all the time as well. So we're just always learning, and we love having our clients there. We love seeing the pictures. A lot of you have been great about sharing that in the group, what you're enjoying and things like that. So it's so much news to talk about. 2 weeks ago, we really didn't get to talk about our trip,
yeah.
So and we get to that as well.
Last week you were out of town, and I had intended to, go live by myself. And then that was sort of derailed by life. And so we haven't been as active in November as we usually are. And so of course the intent is to be live every Tuesday, or just about every Tuesday, but yeah, November sort of got in the way. And there was an incredible amount of news last week. So
there was. I should have gone live from my car, because I don't know any of you with children. It wasn't like my children were talking to me. They were just in the car. I was the chauffeur. I will say before I forget, just a pro tip. I think this is good if you're traveling, if you're driving to Disney or Universal, if you're flying. Mad Libs are like the best thing ever. And I don't know if you have, I'm sure there's a Disney version.
Oh yeah, there are.
I keep them in the backseat of my car. And the first hour, we drove to Maine, which is where I'm from. So we had about a solid 12 to 13 in the car last Tuesday night. I was still driving at this hour a week ago. And then we drove back in one haul on Sunday because I am a crazy person. We drove from New Hampshire. We were visiting with friends in New Hampshire. So anyway, my kids did Mad Libs, but let me tell you, it's kind of a sneaky way to practice those words. And so if your kids are flying and they can read or you need something, Mad Libs are kind of a good stocking stuffer. So I'm just throwing that out as a.
That's true, because then it asks for a noun or an adjective and you have to, parts
adverb.
of speech. Good
Yeah,
idea.
they were doing a little thinking. It makes your brain think. So, that's a good little tip where I know we get a lot of questions about whether that's traveling or waiting in line or things like that. I know we're kind of old school. We're a little more traditional, I guess. I mean, believe me, my children had phones and devices in the car, hence why they really weren't talking to me. But sometimes you just need a good Mad Lib too.
There you go.
That
oh, that's fun. That's fun. I've
little
seen
trivia.
them, but I never pulled them out for my kids. So that's a good idea.
I know, isn't it crazy? And my kids are older, but I was like, when you've been in the car so long, and I have a cat on my lap, this is what's happening right now. You just kind of need a break from reading things. So yeah,
absolutely.
Right. Well, there is a ton of news, so we want to jump in and chat about everything that's been happening.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the big announcement that no one was expecting last week is that Disney World suspended their annual pass program, which they had just restarted in August, maybe. I mean, it had just restarted not too long. No. It was, they were allowing renewals. It may have been after August because they have different passes. And so I think it might have even been September when they started with, the new annual pass program, those systems. And so I know a lot of folks who are planning on picking up annual passes for Christmas presents, Hanukkah presents, on trips that they were taking. And so they've been suspended and we don't know exactly how long. But the speculation is it's through the holiday season, because of the fact that the park reservations they've been full. And so I don't know. I mean, I would talk to, I think it was sometime in October, I was speaking with someone who works for Disney and just talking about the annual pass program and how everyone, thinks it'll go away again soon. And she said, oh, there's no way that would happen. And I thought, well, maybe they've got some insider information. Well, it turns out, no, they really don't. And so we'll see, but park pass reservations for annual pass holders for December are, incredibly, incredibly limited. And even if, so I've had lots of folks, I don't know about you, contacting me because they really want to go. They're already going to be in Florida. They want to go to Disney World for a day or two between Christmas and New Year's. And there's no Magic Kingdom at all available. Right. There's a little bit of Epcot, a little bit of Animal Kingdom, depending on the day. But there are some days when there's nothing available at all. And so they say, well, what happens if I just show up? And I said, well, they probably won't even let you into the parking lot at this point if they're that sold out. And so I think the whole park reservation thing is not something that people have been used to. Yes. And so, if you're watching this, if you have family or friends, or if you yourself are thinking about going, between Christmas and New Year's, because you'll already be in Florida, don't make other plans because the parks are pretty packed. There's not a whole lot of option there, but if you don't already have your tickets and your park reservations, you're probably out of luck.
It is like a full moon over here.
It's Animal Kingdom.
our little, I know. It's my turn now, I guess. Right. Yeah, it's our poor cat who's feeling neglected after being gone for so long. It's like, oh, I don't care if you're live.
Oh, funny.
No children to deter her. Yes. So I think, we have, again, been broken records about this. And again, I think there's also a lot of people who, used to visit Disney we say pre-pandemic, we like to say before times as we chat about this, but you were never used to worrying about making that reservation. You buy your ticket and we're going. We're going to go on December 27th and we know it's busy, but we're going. So it's different now. And again, I know a lot of people who have not traveled, either haven't traveled at all during the pandemic, or certainly Disney hasn't been on their radar, but it's getting busier. I was there just a few weeks ago. It was significantly busier. So again, they're controlling it because of restaurants and crowds and all of that, which is a good thing, but it means you can't just show up. So that was really significant for the pass holder, because we know a lot of people who were ready to buy or renew or whatever it might be, and that's just not an option right now.
Yeah.
So
Now, on the flip side of this, Universal Studios has been having a lot of fun with it. Some
yeah,
of their posts, some of their ads have been quite cheeky, but they are unapologetically still selling annual passes, and they want, folks to come. And Universal Studios Orlando does not have any type of reservation system for their parks, but they do have a hierarchy of who gets in. And so if you do have an annual pass, if you're going over the holidays or a really busy time, the most important thing you can do is get there as early as you can get in. And so if you have, tickets through a travel agent, like one of us, even if you're not staying on property, you can get in for that extra morning hour that they have in whatever park it's offered. Or if you are staying on Universal property, you can get in for that extra hour in the morning,
right.
be in the park at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're, local annual pass holders, or, people who aren't local, who are annual pass holders, who aren't staying at a Universal resort, don't have that same access that you have. And
Right.
then the hierarchy from there is, once the parks are filled, guests who are staying on site at a resort, guests who have date-based tickets. So not just open-ended tickets, not annual passes, but date-based tickets get priority. And then everyone else is behind them in line.
Yeah.
So Universal is very much still selling tickets. You can still go between Christmas and New Year's, but you just want to make sure, if that's your plan, you buy your tickets, you get there nice and early.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I think, this is no different than, before times that we would say Christmas and New Year. I mean, it's just a busy time. It always was. It was one of those, you get in early, don't plan on leaving.
Right.
Like, it is busy. So it's even more so. So I know I've had some inquiries even in the last week, like, okay, we've decided we want to go. I'm like, okay, but no, it's
I
not going to be
know.
the same plan that you decided. So if you're thinking about that, but also, like we've talked about, I mean, there are a lot of other options post January too.
Right.
So if you're
Right.
thinking about, it'll still be cold, probably where you are
Yeah.
coming from. So just know that piece is out there. We're available to answer those questions, but and I know we've had the question too, will the park pass reservation system go away? We do not think it will.
Mm-mm.
Certainly not for the time being, and especially right now, it is
Right.
pretty critical as well.
Yeah.
So again, as
So,
our
right.
as our bottom line for Disney, especially, Universal is a whole other ball game. You can just kind of go. If you do not, you could have that ticket in hand, but if you do not have that park pass reservation made, you're not getting in. So just know
Right.
that you can keep stocking it. We've done that. I mean, it can change, things can open, things like that, but
But not for a long period of time. And if you, are needing to
oh
purchase a
no,
ticket and then make a reservation, it can be
right.
a really short time when that'll change. Something else
Mhm.
I do want to mention about the spring, though, is that there are dates that are filling in. I've got lots of folks who are looking at early February. I don't think that there's a value resort that's available at all early February. There's some moderates and some deluxes. The difference with Universal is that I'm finding that the premier resorts, so they're counterpart to the Disney Deluxe resorts, tend to book up faster in some cases than some of their more affordable resorts, because at Universal, staying at a premier resort gets you access to unlimited express. And the truth
Right.
is, if you've got a family of 3 or 4, you're probably saving money staying at a nicer resort, at a higher end resort, getting that Universal Express than you would staying at just a more value resort, but
Right.
purchasing the Universal Express, even if you're just purchasing it for a couple of days. And then the Universal Express also sells out. It's limited. And so they don't just continue selling it. After they hit whatever their threshold is for that date, then they no longer sell that as well. And so the Universal has some tickets that are out for the new year that include unlimited express, and they're a little bit cheaper than purchasing the 2 pieces separately.
Mhm.
But they're already not available for all the dates that I've been looking at for folks. So some of those are already sold. So if you're thinking spring break, now's the time. I mean, book it. Again,
Yeah.
all of these reservations are refundable. For Universal, it's
Right.
up until 45 days prior to travel. Disney, it's 30 days prior to travel. But if you're booking a room and ticket package, just do it. Put
Do
the
it.
deposits down. You can get your money back. But if you're not sure and you think you might make this decision later on, it's easier. You can always change your dates. You
Oh,
can modify to a later date. But I feel for the people who have these plans. Some of them have purchased flights They're like, we're going to be down there. How do we get in?
Again, as we always say, we're magical, but we cannot change something.
Right,
It's
right.
one of them.
It breaks my heart. Our folks are planning
I
late
know,
dining
and I know,
reservations,
and we both
like
know
that.
the world is upside down right now. So everyone
Right.
has a different comfort level of visiting, and we don't know what the winter will bring.
Right.
We've been really honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you're even entertaining the thought of it, is just to go ahead and again put that on hold. Really minimal deposit. It's completely refundable. You have that option. We can't make things appear when they're not there.
Right.
So if you're thinking about that, or even if you're thinking at the end of 2022, I don't know about you, I'm booking a fair amount of that.
Oh gosh. I cannot believe how far I'm booked through. I mean, really through the end of 2022, I've got, yeah. Though I have to admit, just looking at my bookings and when I'm looking at availability, if you want to travel in July or August, it's wide open. It's like the only, I mean, I'm finding limited availability for some months already, or for some resorts and some room types already in October, November.
Right.
July, August are wide open. So if you're traveling in the summer, make those reservations now, because those are going to be the next to fill.
If you'd like
but
to
if you're planning fall,
wait.
I love it, but I love the water park.
Oh, I can't. I just can't. I mean, I can't handle Ohio in July. If you want to lose weight, head on down. But I know I book clients there all the time, and I just say it's going to be warm. But you're not dealing with school, you're not dealing with all of that. So there's ways of doing the heat. I know some of you who watch, the heat doesn't bother you. Some of us are not wired that way. So,
I don't know what it is, but I mean, you're right. I mean, some people are fine in the heat, and if you are, then that's your window. It's a great time to go.
It's a good time to go. No, and you're right. I think because I think again, people are looking further out, or maybe they had a trip planned even this fall and didn't feel comfortable going. They're looking at a year from now. So we're just seeing so much more booking up. And again, you can move your dates. We're happy to chat with you about that, but just, I know, again, we sound like a broken record, but it's really just think ahead, because you'd like to have more options than not.
I know. And again, a lot of people I talk to, they're like, well, I'm not sure, but I think I really want to, or they get to the last minute and they say, we're ready, for the families who are waiting for younger kids to be able to be vaccinated. They're like, my 5-year-old's vaccinated. I want to go now. I'm sorry. You're not going. No. It's just not, it's not available. So if you're questioning, and you're seriously questioning, I mean, you put the deposit down, you can always cancel, but you can't always create availability. So
you just can't. Absolutely. So, and again, we know some of you who watch go a lot, there's some of you who've never been. So there's all levels. We work with clients from all different, varying. I think I say 90% of my clients are the people who, went when they were a kid and now they're going with their children. So things have changed significantly. And it's been an exciting 2 weeks in terms of news and exciting things that are coming in the parks as well. So D23 happened. We're going to talk about last week.
Right. I know. I put a whole bunch of notes in last week.
I know you did.
I didn't make it, but some new things happening in Magic Kingdom, or that are coming in 2022 at the D23 destination D23, which is a Disney conference that they have every year. They make usually pretty major announcements about what to expect in the parks. And so the Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair, I believe it was just Mickey's Friendship Fair before. So they added magical, and it'll be a little bit of a retooled show, but it's a stage show that we, haven't seen since the parks reopened. So that will be debuting in 2022. And then we've also learned that the Festival of Fantasy Parade is back in 2022. And again, we don't have exact dates for this, but
it's a parade. Who doesn't love a parade?
Well, during the Mickey's Very Merry After Hours event, party, they reintroduced parades, and so that's the first parade that's been back, and then that'll be running regularly after the parties are done in the parks through the end of December. And so that'll be really nice to have a regular parade in the parks that anyone can see.
How crazy is that like, who would have thought that would be it's been this long, and we can talk about the parades being back, and Yeah,
Right.
so that's exciting. And I know we also have clients who said, I don't want to go back until parades are
Parades are
back and
back.
more things like that. And we get it. And you might think, I'm not really a parade person, or I don't really know
Right.
parades. Disney parades are unlike anything else. So
Right.
again, the cavalcades have really served a purpose. There's been a lot of things, but there's just something magical about a parade. So that's exciting.
And I wonder if the cavalcades will continue in
I
addition
feel like they're going
to the
to. I hope they do.
parades. I hope they do too, because
I know.
they're, I mean, fairly regular, you know, entertainment down Main Street, and you get to see some of your favorite characters that you wouldn't normally be able to see anywhere in the park
Right.
at that point either. So yeah, I really hope, I hope that the cavalcades continue in addition to the parade. I wonder if they can, because of the way everything is stored, and that they're using floats that
Right.
are, you know, from the parade. And so just thinking about what that float storage looks like in back.
Right.
I wonder. I really wonder.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm excited. I really want tourists to come back to the parks. I miss, you know, a couple of years ago, Facebook reminded me that I did 3 years ago, the Walking in Walt's Footsteps tour in Magic Kingdom, which was incredible. I've done what's the full one where you get to go on the utilidors?
Oh, I mean, don't
I
ask
can't
me.
even remember, but I mean,
think
some of
things right
these
now,
have
but
been really
yeah,
fascinating.
absolutely.
And so
Well,
hopefully
kind
those
of
will come back soon.
Yeah. And speaking of tours, so our friend Stephanie, who was part of our group for a while too, she was just there with her lovely family on Saturday, and they did a VIP tour. And you've heard us talk about that as an option. VIP tours have been back, which is wonderful. Were you as astonished as I was with the numbers she said of tours that were there on Saturday? I would never have guessed that number.
Yeah.
There were 91 tours, 91 VIP tours on Saturday on Disney World property.
I suppose.
Why did I think there were like 10?
Well, and the fact that they've been selling out. I mean, they sell out and you can't get them.
91 was phenomenal. Phenomenal. So again, VIP tours is something that we can help get you booked for as well. So it's really, I mean, the most primo access. They really did it well. I mean, they saw fireworks in 2 parks. They did 12 hours. I mean, they did everything. But the whole idea of a VIP tour is, you know, basically you're getting that front of the line access. You're getting back. You're not, you know, time going between parks. They did all 4 parks, I believe, as well, which is pretty amazing. So VIP tours have been back. They're clearly back, you know, more so.
They have been for a while. Yeah.
But if you're thinking about them, I mean, I have clients in December who, you know, we tried to book right at the 60-day mark. We just can't get them. So again, if that's something you're considering or you want more information, let us know. But it's a pretty magical way.
Well, and there are tips and tricks to help with maximizing that time as well. You know, when's a good time to start your tour? What is it? You know, what can your tour guide do? And the tour guides will walk you through that as well, but we can give you some tips on how to even start with the process. So
absolutely.
Yeah. But one note I did want to mention before we move from Magic Kingdom is that there was really no mention of Tron at all.
Right.
I have to believe if they had intended to open it in 2022, they would have said something.
Do you think it's going to be another year?
I don't know. What really bothers me is I miss the train.
I love the train.
Yeah. And so because
also
of the Tron,
a train and a parade kind of person. Yeah.
I know. I love taking the train, but the train has been down because of the Tron construction.
Right.
They've had to move the actual train tracks, and so it hasn't been possible. And so they did mention that they were renovating the trains, and so we know that they'll be in wonderful shape once they do start them again. But there was no mention at all of 2022 with Tron. So I think it really could be another year, because moving on to Epcot, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is opening summer 2022.
Crazy.
I know. And they started that construction later.
Yeah. Kind of fascinating. So
yeah.
I mean, as we always joke about, we don't know always what Disney and Universal are thinking, but we throw it out here and sometimes it happens. So,
I know.
Yeah. So to have a date for Epcot is pretty exciting. You know, and it was funny. I was at Epcot just a few weeks ago with my girlfriends, and 3 of the 6 had never been to Epcot. And it's just if you haven't been there with all the construction and the walls, it is so weird. I mean, you just lose so much. You get extra steps in because you've got to go all the way around, but it will be amazing when it opens and that all kind of comes back. And even some of the other changes that we're hearing that are happening as well. So that is exciting for Epcot.
It'll be great. And I wonder if they focused on that because Epcot does need a few more attractions.
It does. And we hear that a lot. And I think this will help even more so when people are debating about which parks to go to. And it's the whole reason it's going in at Epcot. That. But yes, I think so. I think it was more, all right, maybe we work on this one. And who knows? Maybe I have no guess on Tron. I mean,
I know. Though I mean, I'm excited about Cosmic Rewind. Also, they've talked a lot about how it's a reverse launch coaster. It's Disney's first reverse launch coaster. I'm thinking, oh, I have this like in my mind's eye. It will start like Rock and Roller Coaster, and that it'll launch super fast, but only in reverse. You go backwards. But then what? That you spin? I think that I don't know. I think I saw. I've looked at everything.
Well, and if you're a goer, and again, as we're chatting, comment if you are excited about that. We know, and if you again have watched us for a little bit, Jennifer loves roller coasters.
I do.
I can no longer tolerate them at the same level. Like I used to love them. I went on Rock and Roller Coaster with my kids in October, and it was one time. I was like, and I'm good. That is all. You guys keep riding. I'll be over here.
I do have to compensate. I do take, generic Bonine motion sickness meds now, but I'm not, they're not stopping me from riding my roller coaster.
I don't know. We've talked about it. Like I would do it, which is, of course I would but at that point, you probably only do it one time, but yeah, it'll be really fascinating to see what it looks like.
But I think all of us expect, new big ride. So we'll likely have a virtual queue. So if you need practice, with how virtual queues work, we've got some, videos to show what that looks like. And I don't anticipate that process changing significantly. I'm sure it'll be an opportunity for an individual Lightning Lane purchase option as well. So that'll shift over because I have to believe that they're going to capitalize on that as well. And I hope that they do, because there have been a lot of people who haven't been able to get the virtual queue programs, to work on the app, and they'd rather just purchase something. Now, the interesting thing about the individual Lightning Lanes is that, at least from what I'm hearing about Rise of the Resistance, that's selling out almost as fast as attempting the virtual queue was in the past. Now, it doesn't have a virtual queue anymore. You just have the individual Lightning Lane or the standby line. But people are saying if that's something you want, right away, 7:00 in the morning, you have to be up. You have to be prepared to purchase that on the Disney app. So yeah, so some different things.
Absolutely.
Different things to get used to, but definitely, Disney is not letting go of that technology anytime soon. And so something that I try to coach folks on from the very beginning is, I can provide you all of the different resources to know how to use all of this. But if you don't practice, if you don't know how to use it, then you are going to be missing out on some of the aspects. And you just want to go in. Some folks don't want to use a whole lot of technology on their trip, and that's fine. But you just want to go in with, with your eyes open, knowing here are some of the things I'll probably have better access to if I know how to use this technology. Here are some things that might not be as important to me. I don't care. I can go with the flow. But I don't ever want anyone to be taken off guard because they weren't prepared for what to expect for some of those.
Absolutely. And I think you can, I booked the virtual queue and we were there for Remy's in Epcot for our party of 6. And it is, it really is even more straightforward. And even the day before we actually were having trouble with one of our friends getting her. And there are more places in the park where you can stop and ask questions, and they can check everything for you and give you advice. So know that there's, we obviously help you as much as we can before you're going, but we create these videos to really help you as well. And so that has been very successful. And again, it was great. We were enjoying, and then it gave us the time and we headed over. I don't think that's going away either. So if you're more of a Disney regular, and that's just something you want to embrace as well, if you're not purchasing the Lightning Lane or things like that. So all those how-to videos are out there to help you, from literally creating a My Disney Experience account to, maybe seeing what some of the rides are, and both Universal and Disney, that's all there as well too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Universal does have some on their app, but it's very different than, what you can do with the Disney app. And so folks who are Disney regulars go to Universal and they're like, how do I get everything linked? How do I do this? And when you realize you don't have to, I feel like it's a little bit freeing. I can just take things as they go, get my unlimited express, walk wherever I want. I like that.
Right.
But I mean, clearly I'm a Disney fanatic too, and they've got me trained. So
also true. Yeah.
Right.
So some other Epcot news, just one other thing, Connections Cafe will be the new quick service eatery. And so that's opening at Epcot in the front. So, for those of you who know it, formerly known as Future World, that will be opening there as well. So another option, which is always good, especially.
Yeah. And now I have to learn and teach myself the language for how they are. It's world nature, world discovery.
Yeah, I'll probably still call it Future World.
I know it'll always Future World, but it'll be nice to have more food options up front that aren't kiosks, because if it's not during a festival, then there's not a whole lot of food up, right now in the front part of Epcot, like not in the World Showcase. There's oodles of food in the World Showcase. You will not starve in Epcot. You just have to walk a little bit further right now
to get there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, true.
So we'll see what that looks like.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And go from there. But it's next to the Creations shop. So it'll be right next to the store, and also where they have the Coca-Cola products, the Club Cool.
Oh, yes, that's true
which
too.
is also tasting Coke products from around the world is a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I was most excited, honestly, about the Hollywood Studios news.
Yes.
So we are a Fantasmic family. I think you guys are too. Not
Absolutely.
Everyone is.
I love it.
That Fantasmic is the nighttime spectacular that is at Hollywood Studios. And I love it. Like, I think I was actually a little late to discovering it, but I just love it. And it was always one of those shows I felt like you saw so many characters that you didn't normally see as well. Even if you don't like, if you think, I don't know if I like the theme of it, you will like it. Like I would beg to argue with anyone who doesn't. So that's coming back, which is so exciting. And then Indiana Jones.
I know. That's Indiana Jones will be back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So that's and that is, again, that is another huge arena, but at Hollywood Studios, that's another attraction. You can seat a ton of people. It's really cool. It's one of my favorites.
That's one that I love too. Well, I mean, Fantasmic can seat a lot of people.
And
I feel bad because I feel like we totally took it for granted for a long time, because we saw it a lot of years, and then they started the Star Wars fireworks. And had the Star Wars dessert party, which was my favorite dessert party at the time. And so we would do and the kids loved it too. And so we would do the Star Wars dessert party, watch the Star Wars fireworks, but you really couldn't do both.
You couldn't do both. No.
And so we had defaulted to the Star Wars fireworks a couple of times. Then we went to go back to Fantasmic, and we got like it was raining enough for the last time we tried to go that it was more of the whatever their rainy day show is, which is super cute, but not the full Fantasmic. And then everything shut down. And so we haven't seen the full Fantasmic in a long time. And what we're hearing, at least through the rumors, is that the show will be somewhat retooled with new characters and new vignettes. And I'm really excited about that, because there's just been a lot of new movies released since the first Fantasmic debuted.
Absolutely.
And I mean, for those of you who are not familiar with the show is basically Mickey, and he is dreaming and then kind of has nightmares. And so I mean, you can move the story around in so many different ways with all kinds of different characters. And so I'm really excited to see what that'll look like. So again, we don't have a date on when it will debut, but 2022 is the year.
I know, it's exciting. It's just, again, another we've talked about, and it's been a while since we've talked about the normalcy of everything, or those big things coming back. And I think especially for Hollywood Studios to have that nighttime, because otherwise, the park closes and that is it. And let's just have a moment that there are benches. Actual seating. Actual seating in a seat. You can walk up and get concessions. It is open for everyone.
Right. That's so true. I don't mind sitting there. I mean, just even for an hour,
Oh,
just
it's
have a
so
seat that I
nice.
want, relax at the end of a long day. The trick though, and I don't know if the trick is the right word, but something to think about right now about Hollywood studios is that because there isn't really much of a nighttime show, a lot of people tend to be leaving earlier. If they've got park hoppers, they'll go to Epcot or Magic Kingdom to watch the fireworks. And so later in the day at Hollywood Studios has been a really nice time from everything I've heard from everybody to be in the park, to get some shorter lines. And so, if it's your Hollywood Studios day, especially if you don't have park hopper tickets, even if you think, oh, I'm exhausted in the middle of the day, I want to go back, go back to your room for a few hours.
Take a break.
I think you'd find benefit in, I know it's hard once you're back and relaxing, sometimes you're done.
It's hard.
But I think you'd find benefit to go back to Hollywood Studios right now, even before Fantasmic is up and running, because fewer people are hanging around to the end of the day at the park.
And we found that too. I mean, we were there on, was it September 30th? It was the day before October. We were there that day before the Magic Kingdom. I think it was the 30th or, the day before. And we did that. We took a break because now I have teenagers who apparently need more breaks than small children. But we went back in the evening and the wait times were shorter. We got to a lot more. Again, as we were coming back into the park, people were just leaving in droves if you've been there all day. So, and honestly, we talk about this too, both the Universal, Disney, I mean, they just are pretty at night. And there's just a different experience then too. So again, it all depends on your family and how you travel, but going back and either taking a nap or taking a swim and you are back and ready to go, it really is enjoyable. So breaks are good. We are not, I mean, you've heard me talk about that. We used to be the power people. We would just go all day and we cannot do that anymore.
I've never been, I mean, time to time.
Like years I did. You just
never.
Two strollers, oh yeah, all in. Hence why I drove all this way. I mean, it's just how I am, I
guess. Right. I can't do it. I'm done. Good for you. You get a lot of park time, and I find fun at the pool and sitting and chatting in the lounges and all that.
Yeah, I know. Everyone experiences it differently, and I was a bit that way with my friends too, because I was like, all right, the park is open, we're going, and then you're trying to be with your friends, and like I should have just gone. I should have just I'll meet you there. You just come find me. Yeah. So we found the balance, but again, everyone travels differently. That's so much of what we do too. There's no family that travels the same way. And that's okay. I mean, there's the people who, want to be there at rope drop. There's people who want to sleep in. There's, we know we won't get to everything. So we kind of help you with that as well, which is fun. That's what we like doing. Helping you make it the best trip possible. And then another favorite as well that was announced, Animal Kingdom, which is one of our favorite parks as well. That Nemo is coming back in a little.
Right. They changed the name though.
I know.
And it sounds like the story might be, slightly different as well. Right. So I don't know if there's more Dory to it or more Finding Dory to it. I'm hearing, again, lots of different rumors, but the name, it was Finding Nemo, the musical. Now it's Finding Nemo, the Big Blue and Beyond.
Right.
And so what does that mean? Now, that's different, though they've promised us that some of our favorite songs that weren't actually in the musicals, but that I think a lot of us who love this show have, really grown to know and love, that In the Big Blue World is supposed to be part of this musical. And that one also is in the Finding Nemo ride in Epcot. And so, I mean, they've done a good job moving that around through different parks too. So we'll see what that looks like, but it's coming at some point in time in 2022.
Right.
So more in Animal Kingdom too.
Yeah. So that's kind of the Disney World news, and then kind of the Disney World, Disneyland crossover news about the Magic Band.
Right. I still don't exactly know what this whole Magic Band 2 is supposed to do, other than it lights up into, I don't know. It looks like it's not a watch. So I'll probably get one. I mean, people ask me, are magic bands worth it? And
Yeah,
I'm the first
I
person
know.
to say, I love them.
Oh,
I think they're easy.
Jennifer could do a TEDx on the
I
magic.
could. I love
Just so
that.
that people don't know, it's a little bracelet you wear.
I mean, we literally have hundreds in our house between the
You
four
do,
of us.
you enjoy them. Mhm.
I think that they're fun. They're
Yeah.
easy when you use them for more than just, I mean, but they're your room key. They are your park access. We definitely do room charging, and my kids, especially now the dining plan isn't there, but even before, they had access to the dining plan through their magic bands. All they had to do was, scan and put in the PIN number. Now that we don't have that, they have access to charging privileges because they're responsible. But if they want a Mickey bar, they want, something that we've already determined that they can get on their own, they love it. I mean, young teens feel
Oh,
a
yeah.
real sense of freedom for doing some things on their own that make them feel grown up. But then with Genie Plus now, you can scan in, to your Genie Plus lightning lanes with your magic bands. And so I don't know. I don't like to wear a lanyard. I don't want to be pulling anything out of
I'm
a
a
purse
huge
or
fan
a
of wearing
backpack
it.
or a
Yeah,
wallet. Like I
right.
lose stuff when I'm constantly pulling out a key card or whatever from my wallet. It just happens. And I, usually
Right.
carry around $1,000 or more of Disney gift cards. The last thing I want to do is drop that. So if I've got something if I've got my magic band on my wrist, I'm good.
No, I think magic bands are the way to go. I think especially if you're there for more than just a few days, because we get that question occasionally. It's just the ease and comfort. And then you'll go back to the real world and say, why aren't we using these everywhere?
Because I think so. I think you will. And I mean, just the fact that they weren't being used in Disneyland. So the big news is they're coming to Disneyland.
Right.
So, we'll see what that looks like. And I can't imagine they're going to be used any differently in Disney World, but they already have, key cards and everything else. So it's not like the technology really needs to change other than, the actual band and the coding for that band. So, and I'm wondering if they're waiting to roll out Genie Plus there until they have the bands. I mean, I don't know. It's again, just my speculation.
Good point. Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, a lot of people, again, Disneyland and Disney World similarities, but a lot of things that are really different as well. So not everything. And sometimes I know I have clients that struggle who know Disney World and then go to Disneyland. It's a little different.
Right.
So,
or vice versa. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. So it's just, it's different. There's some things that are the same. There's a lot that isn't. So, yeah, I'll be curious to see with the technology and different things if there'll be some more consistency.
Right. Well, and I mean, when we were at Vero Beach, they don't have magic bands they don't give them out. They don't advertise them, but if you have one, you can get that coded into your room instead of your room key. And so you use that as access to the pool, you use that as access to your room, you use it as the beach access. So we use our magic bands there. And from what I've heard, it's the same thing at Aulani, is that you can, otherwise you get a key card, a physical, just plastic card that you scan, or if you've got a magic band that's already linked up to your account, then you can use that interchangeably too, as long as everything is linked. So I don't know what the plans are going forward, but it feels fairly seamless.
Right.
So we'll see what the future of that is. But the thing is, supposedly everybody has, a phone, mobile device, an Apple Watch or something along those lines. But, if I'm doing something like, if I'm at Vero Beach, I'm at the beach, I don't necessarily, I'll carry my phone differently. If I'm at Aulani in the pool, I'll carry my phone differently. Like I am in water and I have destroyed things in water before. So I like having a band that I know I can access and, not have to worry about my phone there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know.
True. So I know I got really excited about what's coming back to Disney World, but Disneyland is the same way. So Fantasmic is returning to Disneyland Park. World of Color, which is beautiful, is coming back to California Adventure. So that's really exciting. The Main Street Electrical Parade is coming back.
Don't bury that one.
I know you did.
Electrical Parade.
Let's just again, if you're a Disney person, so that is a parade, but then like true iconic Disney.
It originated in Disneyland. Yeah. And then they brought it to Disney World for a long time after Spectral Magic. And then we thought it was dead, and it showed up back in Disneyland.
Right.
And still at
They're,
Disney World, we're
they're
hurting
dropping
for
some
a
good
nighttime.
surprises.
I know. A
I know.
nighttime
And
parade we need,
right.
but
So if you're heading to California, and again, Disneyland's a little different in the sense that, I have clients who, they'll pop down for a day or depending where they are. So there's some really cool things coming to Disneyland, which is of course purposeful in terms of getting you to want to visit. And then Mickey's Toontown, which is a really cool area at Disneyland, will be reimagined and will open in 2023 with also Mickey's Runaway Railway, which is very fun too. So a lot, I'd say, I feel like a lot more significant changes announced for Disneyland, or updates, I should say, than we've seen in a while.
Well, and they just opened Adventures Campus in California Adventure. I mean, there's a lot there at Disneyland. And I mean, I keep thinking, how am I going to get there? I've got so much planned already.
I know you
need to get out to Disneyland.
I think I'm going to have to take one for the team to go. I know. I don't know when you'll probably like next week be like, so we're going.
Well, I mean, it could very well happen. We've got 2 cruises in Alani booked next year.
You have a few things booked next year.
Yeah, so. But maybe on the way to or from Alani, I can pop on over. Right. I don't know. It's the kids in high school thing.
I know.
Totally cramps my style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm aware. That's my world. I know. So obviously a lot more news to talk about than we would, because it's been a little while. So, but we did want to really focus on Jennifer a few weeks ago cruised, which now seems like eons ago, which is crazy.
It does.
So we wanted to focus on that kind of for the rest of our time. So if you have cruise questions, drop them in the chat or let us know. Or are you like me and I could live on a cruise ship?
I could absolutely live on a cruise ship. I really could. Except for I would not be healthy. Because I go in with every intention of doing well, and I do for a couple of days. And then, I mean, we did do the Castaway 5K. So
I was going to say, you guys did things. Like you were
We did.
Like I'd be like, no, I'll just be eating ice cream.
Yeah. I did that too.
I know, but you guys ran the 5K.
Well, we did it. We ended up doing it actually on the ship because we didn't get to Castaway at the time that we wanted to. So we had intended to get to Castaway early to do the 5K, to go get our massages that we had scheduled, and then to, enjoy our time on the island. And we didn't get to the island until after 10. And so that morning we were up ready to go, and we couldn't, the ship just couldn't get into the port. It was way too windy. And we were really lucky. We have an awesome captain. Captain got us there. I mean, even the people working on the ship were really surprised that, that we were able to get off the ship. They said just the way the wind was and the seas, and, it didn't feel really rocky on the ship, but they could tell the way we were moving back and forth that it would be hard to get to. But we got there, and it was great to be on Castaway. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention, before I got a little bit or too deep into Disney Cruise Line news, is that starting January 13, all guests on Disney Cruise Line age 5 or older must be vaccinated according to the requirement, the CDC requirements, which is for that age, it's 14 days after receiving, for younger kids, the 2-dose vaccine, because a single dose vaccine isn't available yet for that age. And so I know that impacts a lot of families. Some aren't necessarily ready for younger kids to be vaccinated. If that's you, unfortunately, right now, the answer is that you're not able to sail. We don't know if that'll change, but I've had some families who are like, great, what's the next ship I can get on? And I've had some families say, how do I change this into Disney World or Disneyland? And I mean, that's fine. It's whatever works well for your family. But just know, if you are planning to sail and you've got kiddos age 5 or older, they absolutely are required to be vaccinated. There's no way around that. There are no waivers for anything right now, unfortunately. So just be prepared with that. And then, of course, the testing process is still rigorous for younger kiddos as well. So you get tested within 42 hours of sailing, and then everyone still is tested at port before you get on the ship. So it's a different world. We're living in a different world right now, but there are lots of different requirements, not just with the cruise lines and the expectation on cleanliness and health and things like that, but also the ports. And so I know a lot of folks are familiar that in the UK, Disney Cruise Line did have some short 2 and 3 night cruises, but they couldn't stop anywhere. You got on the ship, you got off the ship. There was no sailing to, to anywhere and getting off. So, I mean, could they do that out of Florida? Maybe, but there'd be no Castaway. There'd be no Nassau, no Western, Eastern Caribbean, because of the requirements of those countries. So that's where we are now with things. And so just be aware. It's important to be aware of what some of those rules are. And could they change? Sure. Of course they could change. But I don't know. With a cruise, maybe looking into 2023, but I don't see anything happening this year that would loosen any type of the vaccination requirements that they have right now.
Especially with Disney. No, I don't think so.
Right.
At all. It's about the safety and they want to keep cruising. So yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I did want to pop over to the chat too, because we do have a chat from Stephanie Chamberlain, one of my favorite people that I have yet to meet in person.
She's the best.
But yeah, she said that they have no real plans to visit Disneyland, but man, does Adventures Campus call out to us. And I mean, they've had in Disneyland, they transformed their Tower of Terror to Guardians of the Galaxy years ago. And I, from the very beginning, have unapologetically said that it's the best Tower of Terror of all of them. And I've only been on 3, but Disney World, Disneyland Paris, and that Guardians, better than any other Tower of Terror. I'm just
and I think we haven't been there, but our friend Nick at Magical News Live and Mickey Blog, they have captured a lot of footage. So if you're interested in seeing what Disneyland, especially Adventures Campus, Greg has been there. And that's a great resource. Go search follow their pages. They're live a lot more because they live there.
Right.
But also those are great videos to watch to get a feel of it. And I guarantee you'll watch it and be like, and we need to go. Even if you're not because I'm admittedly not a Marvel person. My children are. Jennifer is all in on that. So, but I am still amazed by it and the theming and all of that. So.
Yeah. Again, that's one of the reasons why I feel like I have to get there. I love everything about the idea of Avengers.
I know. You're really sold on it. I'm sure I would. Yeah.
If I had more time, I'd be reading the comics, and my family has to, because my kids, they've got all the time in the world, filling me on the backstories of all the shows. But I mean, Hawkeye right now on Disney Plus, I need more of that. So they just do such a good job. But we have no time. Wanted to just pop back to some of the cruise pieces, from how we love the cruise. So I just went, it was my husband and I, we left the kids at home with their family, with some family, and they were fine because they are spoiled rotten and get to travel whenever they want to. But I would do it in a heartbeat again. We had a great time. Our dining staff was incredible. Our room host was incredible. The ship was like not even half full. So you had easy access to everything you wanted to do on the ship. The shows were Disney Broadway quality. We wanted to do so much more, and we were so busy. We never even got to see the Eternals, which we still haven't gotten to see, but it had come out right when we were sailing and haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
And in real life, we don't have the time to go to all the movies.
Right.
So I'm sort of lamenting missing that in lieu of, like a champagne tasting, I think is what we did instead. So not lamenting too much. But I think I would say that probably the crew that might have maybe a lesser experience on the sailings right now are the ones who would prefer to have their kids in the It's a Small World nursery, because the nurseries are not open. And so that's the tough part. And so if you're sailing with 6 months to 3 years, not, potty trained kids, the nursery is not available at all. Right. And so in normal times, nursery is available, you can drop the kids off and, go do some different stuff. And that's not the case right now. But otherwise, I wouldn't hesitate. I'd be back. I mean, I've looked, I've physically done the math. I've looked at flights. I would be back on a ship in a heartbeat. I thought it was an incredible experience. And I mean, Disney Cruise Line is is wonderful to me because it's the things I like. To me, it's enjoyable food and drink and conversation. I love seeing the characters, and the characters were around everywhere.
Mm,
And then the shows
yeah.
just sell me. I love a Broadway style show.
Oh, I mean, that's why I would live
Total.
on a cruise ship. I would
Right.
eat, I would just go
Right.
to Broadway shows and maybe
Yeah.
throw a champagne tasting. Yeah.
The sommeliers were great. There was a great bartender, Jarvis, who I hope ends
Uh,
up on the ship that we're on again, and we'll be back on the Magic in April. Um, so yeah, I'm so excited to go right back on. I loved the Magic, and we hadn't been on that ship before,
right.
and it's
Right.
smaller than the Dream, it's smaller than the Fantasy, and so I wasn't sure what to expect, and I love it. I don't know. Favorites, I don't play favorites very well, but I
Right.
can honestly say, like, I thought it was great. I'm so excited to sail back on the Magic.
I'm glad. Yeah.
So,
Well, and I think again, we both deal with clients who've never cruised before, have a lot of questions about it. And if you cannot compare a Disney cruise
no,
line to
to
others,
anything.
it's not apples to apples. It just
Right.
isn't. I don't even know. I'm gonna struggle. I'm not even gonna say what I'm thinking. It's not
I
apples
can't
to
use those
oranges,
words either.
apples to otters. I mean, like it's just not in the
Prunes,
same realm.
maybe.
What'd you say?
Prunes.
I wasn't even thinking of fruit. I was trying to think of something totally different. So again, we hear this a lot about if you were to go on tonight and maybe just price something, excuse me, it's not going to come comparable because it's not the same level of service. It's just not. So again, and I think again, there's that, and Jennifer proves that myth of it is not just for couples or it's not just for it's for everyone. So yes, the majority are families or multi-generational families, but you can go as an adult couple on a Disney cruise line ship and have a fabulous time.
Especially if you like to have fun in general. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like Disney fans are kind of maybe a little bit more irreverent. I don't know. They don't take themselves too seriously. We love talking to characters and think that's totally normal. And
But I also think it's the cast members, their
and the
level
cast
of the
members.
service and the stories and the talk. It's just so good. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just what they
yeah.
excel at. So
Right. That is a wonderful point. I mean, everybody is chatty and friendly, and I don't know. I miss that in real life because sometimes you go to the grocery store and you talk to people and they think you're weird.
that
I
happened
go,
Sunday night at the gas station when I started, and my kids were like, "I don't know if Jerome needs to hear your life story." I'm like, I think he might. I think he would understand. I've been in the car for 12 hours. And
no, I mean, I feel like it's genuine.
it is no, it's genuine, and I think Jennifer and I are wired the same way, and a lot of you might be too. Like, I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing about them, and I think it's funny. We stayed in a hotel, various hotels during our whole time away, and we were down at breakfast, and I started chatting with a couple, as I always do, and I miss that about traveling, is just meeting people and hearing why they're there. And they were there visiting their son who's in the military and came up to see the grandson from New Jersey. And the nicest couple, we saw them 3 mornings in a row and talked about me driving. And I think that's what I love. And I think on a cruise, whether that's sitting at the champagne tasting or it's at the bar or it's at dinner, if back in the day, like you could be seated with many people, it's such a cool way to meet people. And, I don't know if you like that, and you don't have to, you can sit
right.
because right now you're still just in your party when you're
Right.
seated.
But I mean, when you go to the bar, you can sit at the bar or you can sit at a private table. You can be involved in the trivia or you don't have to, but you can listen. I mean, you just have all kinds
so many options. I think that's the thing. You could go and just be your insular, just be with whomever you're traveling with, just that. Or you can really have that full experience, which I think is so fun.
The community. But we definitely had the community. I mean, like, even when I was tired, our server was such a doll. There was one night when I was done. I was so tired, but I still wanted to go to the dining room. And she's like, "What's wrong? You're not laughing." And then they did something silly, our head server and our other server, just to make me laugh. And she was like, "Oh, that's better. You're laughing. This is good."
And it's genuine. Like that's what they're doing. It's just, and again, I talk about this a lot. I was talking to someone the other night about that. That level of service. Like if you're someone who enjoys good service, any Disney destination, I mean, we see it a lot at Universal, but Disney is another level of really being able to enjoy that as well. So if you're thinking about a Disney cruise, I mean, they are booking out through 2023. I'm sure further out soon as well. So, and again, you might think it's only 2021. We know that. But Disney cruises really do book out very far in advance if you want the best pricing. Again, with a refundable deposit to a certain point, we definitely encourage you to explore that. And it's so many destinations. So you're getting me excited. I need a Disney cruise.
Oh my gosh. And Stephanie, again in the chat, I'm like, Stephanie, I will keep an eye. If I see a New York cruise that goes south and stops at Castaway, I will let you know. But you're right. I mean, a lot of them out of New York go up to Canada instead of down. And only the Magic and the Wonder are able to port in New York, the Dream and the Fantasy. And I think the Wish then will be too big for New York. So, I mean, that's the other thing about the smaller ships is they can go more places. And so that's why the Magic spends a lot of time in Europe, is because it fits in some of those smaller ports. And so the Magic, at least historically, has been in Europe over the summer. And then the Wonder, you know, is able to make it through the Panama Canal. And so actually it just came back on the eastern end of the United States. And then there'll be a westbound Panama Canal cruise in March, before then the Wonder takes time on the East Coast. It'll go up to Canada. It's going to go to Hawaii. Just one sailing to Hawaii, one sail back from Vancouver, and then it heads up to Alaska. Or no, in between, I think it'll be in Alaska too. So you're right, Stephanie. There aren't a whole lot of ships sailing from Disney to the Caribbean from New York, but you never know. I'll keep an eye out because they can throw something out at any time.
Right.
And especially with the Wish, I know we're over time, but I did want to point out that the Disney Wish, I don't know if you're paying attention to things that we've shared on social or for, you know, other channels on social media, but the Disney Wish is looking, I mean, the structure is complete, and now they are working on the interiors. And so the ship is good to go. This summer it starts sailing, I want to say in June is the first sailing. And they announced that on the Wish, they had already announced that one of their Broadway style shows would be Aladdin, but then they will also have a Little Mermaid Broadway style show. And then their like more Disney character mashup, I suppose. It's called Disney Sees the Adventure. And it'll be Captain Minnie and Goofy, you know, as the main storyline. And then I'm sure they'll pull in all kinds of different characters from different storylines too, like they always do on that show. But yeah, I love the Broadway shows. So we'll have those three.
So good. So good.
Those three. But what did I see? I saw Tangled on the Magic. And then the Dream has Beauty and the Beast, which is incredible because it's based, I mean, it's just different. It's not the same as what's at Hollywood Studios. It's based off of the movie. And so just the staging and, you know, how they have all of the different characters is so awesome too. So I can't wait till this summer to go see Aladdin and The Little Mermaid and Seize the Adventure on the Wish. And I mean, the Wish is doing things that are very different than the other ships. So the other four have Animator's Palette, which is a highly interactive. I would say all of the restaurants are interactives on Disney cruises.
I would too. Yeah. That's how I describe them.
But Animator's Palette is especially interactive. It's gorgeous. I like it better on the Magic than on the Dream. Just the coloring and, you know, how the whole restaurant is laid out. But that Animator's Palette won't be on the Wish. They've got totally different dining experiences coming there. So there's a lot to look forward to and too much to do.
Well, and we'll talk about cruises more. I mean, this was kind of our snapshot. We had a lot of news too, but we do want to announce we do have a winner for November. So thank you to everyone who engages and posts and our lives have been a little crazier, as they will be. We're going to do a few more weeks in December, and then we're going to take a break so we can be with our families over the holidays. But we're going to be with you for the next few weeks.
Absolutely.
So thank you to everyone who's posting or engaging or chatting. It just means so much, especially when we're sitting here live. It's nice to know people are watching us. We do have a winner for November.
We do. So again, we looked at everyone who posted on the Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears Facebook group. So the individual posts and the response posts, and also in the chats. And our random number generator brought us to Desiree McCann. And so Desiree, you know where to find me. Let me know which gift card you'd like, and then we'll also post this in the group so people are aware of that as well. But thanks so much for everyone for interacting. I mean, I wish that we had the availability to even have broader giveaways, and maybe someday we will. I mean, we're basing a lot of this on funds that we are able to raise through our YouTube channel, and so it's one of the things that's the benefit of being able to put up all of the content that we're able to put up, that we do, or we're bringing in a little bit, but enough to fund some of our giveaway, which is really exciting. Because to me, the point is putting up valuable content that people are able to use, and that I can easily point folks to and say, I know that this is accurate because I put it together. I know it's right.
Absolutely.
And to have that available for you, for friends and family, for for anybody out there who is looking to make their lives a little bit easier with their trips. And so thank you for those of you who are involved during our live streams, but also who might share some of our videos. I did put together a really short playlist of some short fun Christmas videos from last year when we were in the parks, of Joyful, which is a gospel choir, of the Voices of Liberty, who are an incredible a cappella choir, some views of the castle lighting, the Dapper Dans. And so we've got a little bit of a short Christmas playlist that also has my walk through Universal, because I was able to go through the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade section on that walkthrough.
Have another moment for a parade, because again, we saw that was such a great float. And I know we were so over. You and I are watching. I mean, you were drinking mimosas.
Yes, I definitely was on Thanksgiving. Yeah.
I know the float was great, but I mean, the fact that all those float, I mean, that's such a cool part that Universal does.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and Universal now is, I mean, they're back to doing their parade too, and so they've got their Christmas parade with the some Macy's Thanksgiving Day floats. And so if you're not making it out to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, but you're going to be at Universal, watch their Christmas parade. That's, I mean, to me, it was really, I didn't expect it to feel as cool as it did when I was there. Thinking
you did say that
my entire life watching these on TV from the Midwest. I'm just not going to New York for Thanksgiving. And here they were right in front of me. It was pretty awesome.
Is it on your list of things you'd want to do?
I don't know, because it sounds like a good idea, but it's cold, and I live in a cold climate.
It was 44 this year.
Yeah, but I'd rather be at 44-degree Disneyland Paris on Thanksgiving, or 84-degree Aulani on Thanksgiving.
I know. No, you're usually at Aulani, so I get that. It's on my list, but I want like a heated VIP seat.
Yeah, I mean, maybe someday I would do it if I wasn't taking a bigger trip. But I mean, we're supposed to be in Hawaii right now.
So I know. If anyone's watching and you want to hook us up with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade,
right? I'll go. I can postpone Hawaii for a week.
We'll just let you know. We're just putting that out in the universe. Yeah.
I will say that it's a great diversion if you fly to Hawaii on Thanksgiving morning. Because if you're like, we had flown on Delta, and Delta has, network TV available. And so we were flying on Delta one year and watched the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And it made the flight, which is from the Midwest, really uncomfortably long. I mean, 10 hours. And even if you break it up, it's still 10 hours on an airplane. And that, you're like, oh yeah, this is fun. Brings your brain somewhere else. And then you're that much closer to Hawaii, which is a great place to be on Thanksgiving too.
There's worse places. Yeah, for sure. Well, good. Yeah. Well, thanks to all that have been watching. I mean, this is nice. I mean, we had clearly you had a few things to chat about. We'll talk more next week. I think we'll probably talk a little bit more about the cruise. And then I haven't really been able to dive into fully my trip as well. If you're thinking about a friend's trip or a girl's trip, I mean, I did that and we had a blast. I think we're still recovering, but that was a nice thing too. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks. And again, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. If you don't currently subscribe, please also hit the subscribe button, and please share this out to friends, family, coworkers, anyone that you think would find benefit in this conversation. If there are things that you'd like to see us talk a little bit more about or to clarify, I know sometimes we get really deep in the weeds for Disney fans because we are, Disney Universal travel fans. And so if you are looking for, a beginner's guide to, fill in the blank, let us know. We can put that together too. And, provide that conversation one week. So it's just helpful to know what you're looking for. There's always so much news that we want to be able to get out to you too, because it's hard to keep track of all of it. And even us during the week, we'll just keep a running tally of what came up this week? What do we need to talk about? What's out there? What's new? What's different? But yeah, let us know what you're looking for. And again, thanks so much for participating in the chat. Stephanie, you're awesome. Your whole family.
I know.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
And Desiree, go ahead and contact us because you've got a $25 gift card coming. I'm guessing Disney, but also iTunes or Amazon. And